Hello and welcome back to Pumla. So in our previous episode, we had a guest mom raising older children who's also a coach, and she spoke to us about raising teenagers. So this was in light of the International Youth Day that's commemorated in August every year. So it's a day where we not only speak about the challenges the youth are facing, but we also celebrate their potential as partners in our society. So the mom guest encouraged us as parents to be able to share our own experiences with our children, to keep our conversations authentic and to enable our children open up to us. So we would like to have a discussion as moms or as parents on this show and reflect on our upbringing. So ladies, what kind of teenager were you?
uh, so I meant to call my mother to ask her what she remembers, and then I forgot. So yeah, I'm just going to say or share what I remember. So I think I have shared on this show countless times how I grew up in a really tame, safe, covered, closed environment that I would like to think that I was a very tame teenager. I went to, so it's high school where we were teenagers, right? So high school, Gaza High School, I was very, my mom had really brought us up in such a way that, you responded to instructions. I can't honestly say that I was stubborn or that I rebelled at some point. It really was a journey of, okay, mommy has said this, you do this. And she was the disciplinarian at home. So she made sure that we did certain things. But the way she made sure we did them reminded me of what our guest earlier was talking about, which is she did it in love. Even when she was caning us and training us to be neat girls and, oh, make sure your panties are washed, make sure your room is clean, make sure the home is tidy. I remember she would spank us, but then she would bring us in for hugs and things like that. And of course, we would be annoyed in that moment. We're like, why are you hugging us when you caned us? Like the two just don't add up. So I found that we built a solid relationship with our mom in such a way that we understood that the things she was doing because she loved us. So if she caned us, she was doing because she loved us. So in terms of describing what sort of teenager I think I was very tame, and I think it also speaks to the sort of adult that I am now. I never want to be on the wrong side of the law. Like now, when the president has said, let us stay at home, I don't care if you tell me there's no roadblock or there's no what. I'm just like, guys, they said we stay at home. Can we please focus? So I was those teenagers. I just didn't want to be on the wrong side of the law. That's the sort of teenager I was.
Oh, wow, Rachel. Interesting. Talking about, taking me back to our teenage days. Wow. I remember my mom just lately, like when she's having discussions or conversations with my siblings, the person she is now, I really thank God because the kind of teenager she was, she disciplined us with love. That's what I remember. First of all, as the last born for many years. So as always known as the naughty one. Like even to know that I would cook a meal would shock people. But I did. Like we were trained, everyone had their days. Today is your day to cook, so you need to prepare the meal. So as that kind of teenager, everyone else thought I was the baby. My mom raised me Chejo, but it surprises everyone that, it's not what, I turned out to be. But as those kind of crazy, in between crazy, but then not crazy. I had a balance. Yeah, that's what I remember growing up as a teenager. But I love to dance. I would always go out and dance, but during the day, and it would really piss off my father. It would piss off my dad. Yeah, but yeah, I calmed down after that.
It's been a while since I was a teenager, so really, let's start with that. That said, I was definitely cheeky, without a doubt. I was definitely cheeky. I was naughty, but I was raised in love. I've always been surrounded by love, always being assured that I'm good, I'm the best, I can be better. So that usually helps when you're a teenager. When you're a teenager and everybody's pushing against you, then you rebel. In my case, I never did. I never did all the things that most people would have thought I did, like jump over fences or drink alcohol at school. I never did. I never did any of those, because either way, when you're naughty and cheeky and everybody expects you to be doing stuff like that, sometimes you just surprise them. So what I do know from my parents, yes, I got pregnant when I was young, but that didn't stop them from reminding me that I was special. So even during that period, we somehow sailed through. So I can't say I was a good girl, but I don't think I was much of a problem. Yeah. That's what I remember.
Yes, actually, when Rachel said she wanted to call her mom, I actually did call my mom. I called my mom last night, and I just wanted to find out what she in fact remembered, if we had the same documentation of my teenage years. You guys, I asked my mom, I told her, Mom, I just wanted you to give me some update on raising me as a teenager. She said, all my children were very good children. I didn't have any problem with any child. I was on the other side of the phone. I'm like, what? I'm sorry. Like, I just realized. So we spoke on the phone for over an hour about everything. And then I realized that things started to come back to her, but she remembered nothing. But mostly, she did not know even more, because my smartest years were my teenage years. I did everything I could do to find ways to make sure I did what I was not allowed to do without getting caught. In every 10 things I did that were wrong, I got caught maybe once. And I allowed, and that's the one time my parents remember. So they thought, they were not too bad, but I did everything I could never to get caught. And to tell you the truth, like, I wasn't the worst, but I would never wish myself on any mom, to be honest. And if we're being downright honest with ourselves, I was rebellion with a capital R. My teen years were real tumultuous, both at home and at school, because the settings were all strict throughout. And I was those children, like, they sent us for coaching, whom made sure they go for coaching. My mom didn't believe in coaching, but I manipulated my parents to send us for coaching, because we were not allowed to get out of the house. And when I go for coaching, who knows where I am in coaching hours, or what I'm doing, or where I have gone, where I have run away to. No. So maybe once in a while, my mom would say, let me pass by the coaching place. That's the time they would find out that, hey, where is Pumla? Then someone communicates, your mother. I run back. I get an excuse. I was there. I went to the clinic. I wasn't well. Like, I was those kids. I just did what I wanted. I didn't want to be caved in, But you see, I shudder in retrospect, because I didn't care about the consequences. I only lived in that moment. Like, I only cared about, there's a day dance. It's between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. I would spend, 2 weeks trying to find out how to fool my parents into being at that day dance without them finding out, and being home on time. I went to church. I would go for those church things. Simani, what? My mom would think I'm there praising God. God of where, or maybe Hotel International or Sparks Dance Club. Maybe that God. I don't know. Anyway, the truth is, my mother survived. My father survived. I survived. We all survived. That's what I can say. We are here to tell the tale.
Oh my God, Pumla. I've had a laugh. Like, who speaks after Pumla? I shouldn't talk. I should be very quiet. Anywho, for me, a lot, and I think I've talked about this. My teenagers found our family in a time of poverty. So I didn't have the luxury to go out on a day dance, go out. I keep saying that I feel like God saved me at age 6 because he saw the trouble that I was going to be. To be honest, to be absolutely honest, I honestly feel like God was like, this chick, I need to save her quickly. So age 6, let me get her. And then I think he was like, okay, even if she knows me, let me add some poverty in this mix so that she can be so... I would see my friends and I would be like, I would love to do that. But it's not that I don't want to do it just because I'm a tame child. I would be like, I can't go there because my mother is so poor. Like, I can't afford to have bad grades. I can't afford to be, I mean, I can't afford textbooks. So what do you mean I'm out of the class? I've gone on a dead dance. Me who can't afford, like, so I kind of feel like my teenage years were really tamed by the poverty that was around us. And so for my mom always told me, like, I've always known what my mom felt about me as a teenager. And she keeps saying that I was a godsend because she was going through a divorce. Poverty levels were really high. I was those kids who, and I think I've said this before, like, I really needed to help my mom with school fees, or I felt like it was such a burden on me. So I was big on getting scholarships. So you're getting a scholarship. Can you not be in class? You click, eh? I wanted to get a scholarship so that all my brothers can go to school and all their school fees can be paid. Like, that was the kind of child I was because of the situation around me, not because it's what I really, really wanted. If my parents were together, rich, I fear for the kind of child I would be. However, I do recognize that what held me, and a lot of what has held me in life, is those things, the situations around me. But the Kamanuela inside there is that one, there is that Carol, there is that one. I recognize her, I see her, and I know her very well. So that's what my experience growing up as a teenager was like. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we thank God for control, Manuela. We thank God for control, for external control. So speaking about that, actually, I know you're close to your mom now, but what kind of relationship maybe we should share, what type of relationship did we have with our parents while we were growing up, especially in those teenage years?
Yeah. So like you've said, I have a very close relationship with my mom, and it was obviously because of the poverty, and also she had nobody to talk to. I was the only one, and I was trying to help, and we were trying to do business together, and she was constantly talking to me. And so our relationship was very, very close. We only had a fallout when I got into yes, Rachel, I did have a fallout with my mom when I got into a relationship. When I was like maybe 16, my mom couldn't have it. She was just like when I told her, because I did tell her, I said, Mommy, in a relationship, I like this guy. And she was like, you like who? Does he like you? Do you know men? He's going to use you. As in, she talked and talked and talked. Now, it just so happened that this boy was a pastor's child. So she called him, she talked to him, and she said, you want to break my daughter's heart? And he was like, no, I want to marry her. My mom couldn't have it because she had told me, if I call him here, he's going to tell me that he doesn't love you. You wait and see. Now she calls him and asks, do you love her? And he's like, yes, I want to marry her. 16. My mom couldn't have it. She called his father, called his mother, left the church, as in, my God. Then she found out he used to visit me in school because he was a little older than I was. That's what I'm telling you. I was really, situations protected me. So he used to visit, because we were, very poor. She would not visit me at school, and he would come. Bambi said, bring me things, some quencher, because we didn't have. So anyway, my mom, the day she found out that he visits you, even the 5K she used to give me, she stopped. She's like, no. And now you're his wife. I'm like, man, we're just dating. My good Lord. She would tell me that, and then I would come to like on holiday. If I overslept by like a minute, she's like, maybe you're pregnant. In fact, I don't. We need to test you. Do you have HIV? So I was like, we're just even pecking. We're not yet even deep kissing because I don't know how to French kiss. What do you mean I'm pregnant? What do you mean I have HIV now? So now that was the point when we really fell out, because I feel like that was the first time she never ever got to sit me down and talk to me. And of course, in hindsight, I know that she had gone through a difficult marriage, and she had had children. And I guess maybe she was fearful and scared, because I feel like all of our lives, all of my life, all she ever told me was, you really need to be careful, Manuela. You'll always be misunderstood. And I think I've told you guys, she said, you always have to fight for your brains, Manuela. You have to fight for your brains. You have to fight for your brains. So now this time so that was a time we fell out. But later, of course, she won. I broke up with a boy. And then now she was ready to be my friend again. So yeah, that was our relationship. We did have a fallout once, but after that, yeah.
Oh wow. It's shocking because you and your mom are like sisters. Like, to hear that you guys had a falling out, I'm just like, over what? And then to find out it was a boy. Eesh. A 16-year-old boy. Wow. So I think I had a really, really good relationship with my mom. And I think for all of us, although now that we are older, I have a feeling that her and I got closer, I think partly because of my personality, but because I always felt like she was in our corner, whether she was disciplining us or reprimanding us or, taking us to school. She's the one who really actively raised us. Dad was, heavily involved in ministry, and so not around as often or not present as often. If we needed something and we had to get Dad's permission, and it's not a decision that she could make by herself, would go through her. So she was like our Jesus. pray to the Father in Mommy's name. And so that's the dynamic I remember. So Mom, in my opinion, could do anything. She's able to talk to Dad on our behalf if we are worried about, or if we failed an exam. I failed an exam and I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad is going to be so disappointed. So talk to Mom, because she talks to you about books and all. She's like, okay, now let's strategize. How do we tell Dad? So she's like, okay, don't worry, I'm going to talk to him first. And then, you guys, should always create an opportunity for you to also talk to him. So it wouldn't be just, I'll talk to him, don't worry about it. No, talk to him and then find that a good time to be able to express yourself as well. So I remember that sort of relationship with my mom.
There was a period there for the most part where my mom and I, as you'd understand, given how I told you I was, we were always at loggerheads. I honestly started speaking to my mother after the age of 20 years old. Like, we could not have a conversation, we couldn't speak. She was there, but I was just fighting her all the time. I fought the person she was, the person she wanted me to be, the lines she was trying to keep me in. It was just always a problem. My dad, on the other hand, was so close, but we are only close because I was able to manipulate the dads and their daughters' relationship. And that made my mom even madder. And that made me even happier, because when she was mad, I was happy. Like, that was our relationship the whole time, you guys. But what I remember, you guys, that made me even madder than everything above all, my mother still loved me. Like, I could still feel that love, but I was just trying to make her upset, like to annoy her, to make her, so she could leave me. When you're even like, we're in a relationship and the person is not leaving you, they're still being good to you, then you try to do all the wrong things, but they're still there. Like, I remember, and she used to tell me, like, straight up, my mom is also no nonsense. She's like, Madam, I'm your mother, you're my child, where are you going? I love you, you also love me. Why you're fighting the love? But you have nowhere. We are here, we are stuck, nothing to do. What to do? That was our relationship, but I go with my mom. And when I think of, even now in the phone call, when I spoke to her, she used to tell me, Pumla, I just didn't know, like, how we were just trying to steer you and guide you in the right way, in the right sense. It's not like I didn't want what was good for you. I knew what was good for you, but I couldn't let the reins go, and that's where the fight was. So we were always like that, but now we are like the best of friends. Now my siblings go through me. I'm Jesus. My siblings go through me to talk to my mother. Imagine, like, our relationship has changed. So, and I'm like, what was I doing? What the hell was I thinking? So yeah, that was us then, and us now is a completely different picture.
My relationship with my parents has always been good. And why do I say odd? Because my character and everything, somebody would think that I'd always be getting into trouble, but no, I didn't. We've always had an amazing relationship. I tell my mom my secrets. I tell my dad my stuff. Maybe because of the way they would react. Because I remember when I first came home and I was actually really, really pregnant, when you got into that stage where you can't dial back. My dad was not aware, and everybody was screaming, oh, she has to get married, and all those things. When he came, I asked everybody to leave, and then I knelt really close to him. I'd never knelt in front of my dad. And I put my head on his lap and I said, Daddy, I'm carrying a baby. But the way they reacted was the way they've always reacted to situations in our lives, which made our relationship with them so much easier. So I will say that I never went through that stage of, teenagers where you don't get along with your mom or things like that. No. So I'll say I generally had it pretty smooth. Yeah, that was the kind of relationship I've had and I've always had with my parents.
Oh, wow. The relationship I had with my mom was a good one. I've not had issues, but my father was the tough one. So we always had curfew. You should be in the house by 6. I just remember one time when a close neighbor had arranged for us to go for a day dance and was supposed to be back early. So she took me and then at 6 past, it was 7, 7:30, 8. We didn't have taxis. Like we waited for taxis to bring us back and we did, like there was none. So I was a bit late then. My God. I found the house on fire. I think that was the very first time I was, like coming back home late. I found they had already gone to her house. They had already asking, where did your daughter take hours? Oh my God, she must be pregnant already. Oh my God. So my dad, like for him, I remember we used to have activities happening, people going for camps, and he would always be like, no, I don't trust what happens there. You should stay home. But with my mom, she always rebuked us with love. I remember the first crush. I didn't have the energy to tell her as in love. I didn't tell her then, the initial stages. But of course, she would see you, like this guy comes to see you, then she sees you standing outside and she would just call you and say, but you, I'm warning you, you need to be really careful with those boys. And of course, you'd be like, yeah, it's not like we're doing anything much. But with my mom, it has always been, we've not been at loggerheads. As for Pumla, hands up. But yeah, I think that was the relationship. And then it just became closer and closer when I grew older. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. It's really nice to hear the different experiences that we all had as we were growing up. I actually wanted to close, but I feel like, the only parent we have on this show who has teenagers and above is Angie. So I just wanted her to tell us briefly, really, what her experience raising her teenage children, like because now she has those that are older. So what were your expectations before? How did you go through it? And where are you now? Just to, before we wrap up.
Wrap it up. We had, and to be honest, as I say, parenting has no manual. But if you take time off and just listen to the people around, the stories are generally the same. You can pick from these either points of advice or whatever. Raising teenagers is very difficult, yet at the same time, one of the most rewarding activities, should I say. They take so much from you, and yet at the same time, they give so much. And then you're constantly worried about them. And then they remind you that, yes, you can be worried about us, but at the end of the day, if you've raised us right, we should be able, to make it through. So I won't lie to you, it's definitely very emotional. You will need to take a break off just to remember who you are. And as Pumla was saying, it's like the more you push. So you get to a point whereby either you topple over or they do. And it's important to maintain that equilibrium, because the second you don't, then you completely lose it. Is it something that I would say I wouldn't do again? No, in a heartbeat. Because once again, I'm crazy, Angie, and everything, but I made some good children. They listen when they say I'm really pissed. I also try to be a good role model, but yeah, raising teenagers is not easy, but it's so worth it. So worth it.
And just hearing you speak like that, we all hope that we get the best seed, because nobody wants to raise a notorious child. I'm sure, or a notorious teenager. So I'm sure you've wrapped this up really well, and you've added your voice as a mom raising teenagers. So yes, so there you have it. Raising teenagers can be scary, but it should also be fun, you should engage your teens, keep loving on them, listen to them, stop fighting them. It's not necessary. So for those with teenagers, let us know how that's worked out for you. Those raising potential teens, share with us in our comment section, what are your expectations? So thank you again for joining us. Until next time, with love from Pumla.